So, they say that revenge is a dish best served cold. What would regret be? It's Antoinette, and this is the second of my Sunday Soul Search sessions. I've been percolating about this topic of regret all week. On Tuesday, I had a big drive up to Birmingham and I listened to a podcast. I generally listen to a podcast on long journeys. So I was listening to Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, interviewing Daniel Pink. And they meandered across a whole range of topics. Honestly, brilliant podcast. Listen to it if you can. But for about 10 minutes, they discussed this topic of regret. And it kind of touched a nerve, a raw nerve really, because I think with that whole New Year vibe, I'd been thinking back kind of existentially big stuff. And I have a regret that I'm constantly like, regret, sorry, not sorry, sorry, not sorry. And this whole topic, this whole debate was really good at helping me to just kind of come to terms with that thing. So my thing was that I sold my house. I sold my house, oh goodness, about, where are we? 2008. So do the math, however long ago that was. And people were saying, you're mad. I had all sorts of reactions from family, from friends, even from church family. And I sold my house because I needed a stash of cash. I needed a stash of cash to be able to go to mission training college. I needed a stash of cash to be able to survive a little bit longer term. Hi, Susie. I needed to feel free. And I'd only ever owned one house, so I didn't understand about assets and equity and leveraging your money on top of it all. I didn't understand any of that stuff at the time. All I knew was that God was asking me to do something, and the only way that I could understand to do it was to release cash from my house. So fast forward however many years, do the maths, I rent, I don't own a property, and every now and then I think, you were a bit stupid. You probably should have held on to that property, especially with what I know financially now versus what I did back then. But here's the thing, and it was really quite liberating to listen to these two men discuss and debate. And it's generally why I go round that loop of sorry, not sorry, sorry, not sorry. When we have regrets, I guess we could do a few things, but two main things. We could dwell on them, we could sit in them, we could let them take hold of us, let them take control of us, and let them paralyze us. Or we can consider them, dwell on them, think about the lessons that we have to learn those lessons and move on. And the thing for me is that as I dwell on that particular regret, I mean, I've got a whole lot more, but as I dwell on that particular regret, it set me free. It set me free, and I live a life now that I couldn't even conceive in my boxed up lifestyle back then. I have seen miracles. I have seen God show up in my life in ways that I didn't even know happened. I understand why the poor are blessed, or the Bible says blessed are the poor, in so many ways, because really their only hope is in God. And that is, I've been in that corner so many times over the last 12 or so years that it's transformed my faith and how I run my life and how I deal with difficult situations. It's unequivocally changed me. If I'd held on to my house, would I have seen some of the really amazing things that I have seen so far? Probably not, possibly not. Maybe I would have. We don't know. But actually, it was good for me and right for me at that time. I knew nothing else. I didn't know what else to do. And that decision, as I said, has changed my life. I've started a business that has changed so many other lives. I'm in the position of thinking up, what's my big why? I mean, I know why it is. It's why God asked me to cut myself loose many, many years ago. But I've got the flexibility and the agility to be able to push in that in a way that other people who perhaps have got commitments, family commitments, which are wonderful, but might create mortgage commitments, which are necessary. I don't have that. I don't have those ties. So that's one of my regrets. And I would love to hear, if you're brave enough, either to put it out in the post or to DM me, like what are things that you regret? Daniel Pink is really of the mind that we just need to move on from our regrets, and he agrees with a quote from Lewis Carroll. So Lewis Carroll has a quote which says that, more or less, we generally regret the things that we didn't do, not the things that we did. So we generally regret decisions that have taken us too long to make, or chances that we didn't take. Those towards the end of our life are generally what we regret, not the things that we did do. And Daniel Pink, with all he's researched this and would agree. So what is it that you're mulling over right now that you just give it a go? I mean, like, what's the worst that could happen, right? What is it that you're holding on to that's kind of dominating your thoughts and that you possibly need to let go of? Just do it. Just do it. Move on. Whatever that phrase is, regret is a dish best served cold. Let's commandeer that and let's move on. One life, people. Let's make it count. Have a great Sunday evening. See you next week.